Hello and welcome to the Spring Show.
I'm Judith.
I'm Jim, and our special guest today is Kevin Bisbangian, award-winning film director, producer, scriptwriter, actor, and he's straight from winning more awards. So we'll hear more of Kevin after this.
चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 सारे इश्क की छाँव चल छैया छैया सारे इश्क की छाँव चल छैया पाँव जन्नत चले चल छैया छैया पाँव जन्नत चले चल छैया चल छैया 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 वो यार है जो खुशबू की तरह जिसकी जुबां उर्दू की तरह मेरी शाम रात मेरी कायनात वो यार मेरा सैया सैया चल छैया 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 गुलपोश कभी इतराए कहीं महके तो नजर आ जाए कहीं गुलपोश कभी इतराए कहीं महके तो नजर आ जाए कहीं तावीज बना के पहनूं उसे आयत की तरह मिल जाए कहीं तावीज बना के पहनूं उसे आयत की तरह मिल जाए कहीं गुलपोश कभी
And
My
there
goodness,
we
that was
are.
good.
That was a very interesting piece of music, Kevin. Where's it from and what does it mean to you?
This is composed by A.R. Rahman, and the language is in Urdu.
All right.
They used this music for a movie by Spike Lee for a titling music, and obviously it was a remix of the same music. It was composed in 1968, and by 2002, BBC World Service conducted an international poll for the best music, popular music in the world, and this was one of the top 10 voted by 155 countries.
Has it featured in any other films or anything else
For,
that we
for
would have seen?
Spike Lee's movie with
Just that one?
Denzel Washington was in it.
Fabulous. It's got a real wonderful Indian
very
beat
happy
to it.
music.
Yes, very happy. Yeah. Tell us about these awards that you've just won and what films they were for, and tell us more about yourself.
My recent movie, one of my recent movies was called Salome, and it won the best script from Amsterdam International Film Festival and won the best short film at Saint-Tropez Film Festival. It was among the official selections at Cannes, Tenerife, and another festival at Marbella.
Did it?
Good
Gosh,
Lord.
quite a lot.
Wow.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Because we all met,
Yes.
didn't we?
Yes.
How many years ago?
We're pretending he's a new guest. We met him a long time ago.
We were all training at the City Lit. Jim
Yes.
and I were doing a TV presenting course
Yeah.
with Gavin Campbell, which was such fun.
Yeah.
And then we also joined the film and camera
Yeah.
course.
That's
and
true.
With Peter
that's
Leverick.
Peter Leverick. And there we met Kevin.
Yeah. So was that the first time that you had actually handled cameras and films and all the rest of it?
Yes, actually, I
Really?
learned a lot from Peter, obviously.
Good heavens.
But before that, I had done editing for
Yeah.
a couple of years.
What,
Yeah.
at the City Lit, did you do that?
Not
or
at
no?
City Lit,
No.
for myself.
Yeah. It's quite good fun editing, isn't it?
It is,
It
but
ta- it's
after a while it
long.
becomes boring.
Yeah, well, all right then.
You have to have a certain character to enjoy it.
I like editing, but then again, I haven't done the length of films that you've done. Tell us how many films you've made.
I've made 9 films.
Good heavens.
2 of them are not finished yet.
Yeah.
We are finishing the post-production hopefully soon.
Yeah.
And I'm planning to make 5. I'm working on 5 projects hopefully for next year.
You like to keep yourself busy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and why not? Because a lot of people who do these courses think, oh, they'll go into filming. They just fall by the wayside. So
Yeah.
you've really taken it forward.
Yeah, I've been lucky because my first film, Broken Wings, got 6 nominations at Madrid Film Festival, and that encouraged me
Yes,
to
of course.
continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's like going into a casino and winning on your first night, isn't it? to actually win an award for your first film is fantastic.
Yeah. So how long was Salome?
Salome, I made 2 versions. One was 15 minutes, the other one was 30 minutes. The 30 minutes won the best short film at Saint-Tropez. 15 minutes was selected at Cannes.
Gosh, and you're in these films, aren't you, Jim?
I'm in one of them.
One.
Yes.
He's a brilliant actor, my favorite.
Yeah. Well, yes, you can act. I've seen you in other.
The whole of my life is an act.
Yes.
So tell us about the other films, Kevin.
The previous one.
Yeah.
There was the other one was Chain Reaction. It was a black comedy, and 2 months ago it won the best script for a short film at London International Film Festival. Wow. And before that was Poetic Emotion. It was a documentary about a French actress, artist, poet.
Yes.
And that won Saint-Tropez Film Festival in 2013.
Now, that was a documentary, wasn't it? And,
That was a documentary.
Judith and I actually went along to see that. Do you remember?
Which
we went to the
the
screening
artist.
of the French
Yes, I do. Yes.
artist,
Yeah.
poet. You liked her stuff, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. Each of the screenings that I've been to of your films, you've had a terrific audience. You've had quite a lot of people coming along to see you. Now, Judith and I have a question.
Oh, what's that?
How, well, we won't ask you anything personal, but how does one go about getting funding for films? Because I've seen your films and they're not sort of home videos. These are really top quality professional outfits. So how does one go about getting funding for that kind of film?
I think obviously your achievements help you a lot in order to talk to different people, different institutions, get the money. You have to have certain achievements. And it gives you the confidence to actually go and talk to different people. I met lots of people at Cannes and lots of film buyers, and some of them have already showed interest. So they are going to talk to me about buying Salome.
Yeah.
I don't know what version yet, but
So does that mean that the more awards you win, the more funders will
Absolutely.
flock to your door?
Absolutely.
So now you've won this award. What does it mean to you? Because I mean, people win awards, and then there's another bit of news. So what's going to do for you?
Obviously, it is good and it is bad. It is good because it gives you extra confidence for your next projects, and it is bad because it creates pressure. You doubt if your next project is going to be as good as your last one.
Really?
So, in that sense, it's good and bad.
Where do you get your ideas from? Do they just spring up in your mind as you're
well,
walking along?
I get these mad ideas and then discuss them with my co-writer Judith Weiler, and then we decide whether they work or not. I started writing a script for a feature for 6 months with the help of my co-writer Judith, and finally I decided against it. So we decided to scrap it and just change it completely.
And I'm going to jump in and explain to the listeners that you could not meet two sweeter, kinder, more gentle people than Kevin and Judith Weiler.
Oh, thank you.
But I also have to explain to our many listeners that some of Kevin's films touch on the macabre, to say the least. Would you like to talk a little bit about the storyline of a couple of your films?
Well, the next ones or the
No, the
last
ones that
one?
you've already made.
Salome was about this woman who was obsessed about classical music, and this obsession and jealousy became so much that she would kill people that who didn't like classical music.
A little bit like Serial Mom.
Did you take this anything from the opera, Salome opera?
We did actually,
Yeah.
because that opera, as you know, it was banned in 19th century and in UK. And when the first time somebody told me the story of that opera, it was always in the back of my mind. And when I started writing Salome, I had to definitely mention that. So at part of the film, you see the connection.
So tell me, Kevin, do you like classical music?
I love classical music. I didn't like it so much before, but I do. I love it.
You have to grow. Oh, right.
It is. It's a very long track. It's a beautiful track, but it does go on for 8.5 minutes. So that's why I've had to fade it out, I'm afraid, listeners.
Well, what is it? Who is it?
This is by Arvo Part, Spiegel im Spiegel, and is one of my favorites. I used it for one of my poems. I write some
You write poetry as well as making films and script writing and directing and producing and acting. My goodness.
Can you recite one now?
No. But this is very sad, extremely sad, and I love it.
What, the poem or the music?
The actual music.
Yeah.
Do you actually go to opera? See opera?
No, I don't, because I don't have enough time, but I love
Oh,
to
yes, you
go.
do. You can always make time for something you love.
I would love to be able to. I've been so busy.
Now, talking of music, did you watch the Eurovision Song Contest on Saturday?
I didn't.
You never watch it, do you?
No.
Oh, you should. It was very entertaining. And I have to say, it was a much better year this year than ever before, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you know, I have to say, I think for years, Eurovision was a bit of a laughing stock. It was a shambles, the music was atrocious, and I'm sure that's why the BBC got Terry Wogan and then Graham Norton to narrate, because they just made fun of it. But in point of fact, the last 2 or 3 years, the production has been pretty much flawless. It's been entertaining. The good quality songs have been good quality. There is always rubbish, of course.
The trouble is, I mean, the Swedish Swedes won it, and the chap was good looking and a good song, but it was yelling the whole time and repetitive, and just yell every time somebody yells, hits a high note. Everybody screams and yells with him, and that's not music to me.
I think a lot of modern music, there is a lot of shouting. I don't know why they bother having microphones. But one or two were lovely and soft. Who was the one? It was a ballad. It was one single chap on stage.
I think that was from Cyprus.
Was it Cyprus?
And I like the Italians as well.
Well, they were like the three young tenors. Sort of, you could call them the three fivers, really. That was quite good.
Yeah, that shows our age, really,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
Yeah.
Soft ballads.
Yeah, the 3 half crowns. But the other track that I thought was definitely in with a chance was the Israel track. That was a real dance number. Yeah. And I think that'll do very well in the dance clubs for quite a while.
And Australia.
And Australia.
Australia was good.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, there was a good selection of songs, really.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
But of course, poor old England. We got 1 point.
How about
No,
Ireland?
5 points.
Did they do well?
No, we got 5 points.
5 points.
We got 1 point more than France, I think.
Oh, right.
I think Ireland did quite well.
They always come out with brilliant songs,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, the Irish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a great programme on the 17th of March, St Patrick's Day, and what we did is we found some unusual modern Irish music, and we also found out about the unusual food that exists only in Ireland. Did you know that they have their own food, which is quite different from anywhere else?
I can't remember anything now.
Well, the seaweed. They've got they
Well,
have
we eat
edible
seaweed, so
yeah, I
do
know.
the Japs.
I know, but theirs
Yeah,
is
I know,
different.
yeah, I
It's
know.
Irish.
Irish seaweed. It's got its name on it.
So getting back to Kevin. Kevin, you mentioned Judith Weiler, your co-writer. Who else do you work with or have you worked with in the making of your films?
I'm using the same co-producers. For the last film, Salome, we had 5 co-producers.
Good Lord.
For the next film, I'll be using the same. They are interested to work with me, and I'm interested to work with them. So definitely it's the same people.
Yeah.
And some of the actresses might
Yes.
be in the same film, next film as well.
Because did I hear that one of the actresses won award for, was she Best Actress in Saint-Tropez?
She won the award for the best
Wow.
lead actress.
Yeah.
What, in your film?
Yes.
Yeah,
for
not
my
in
film.
from all the ones that were entered. Just in your
She
film.
won the award for the best actress.
Best actress
All round.
overall.
All
Oh,
the-
yeah.
oh, really? Oh, shit.
That's
Yes,
fantastic.
absolutely.
That's good.
So that was the same ceremony where you got best, what was it, best
That was
director?
Saint-Tropez Film Festival.
Saint-Tropez.
Yes.
Best director.
I had 5 nominations: Best Director, Best Short Film,
Wow.
Best Editor,
Wow.
Best Lead Actress, Best Cinematographer. That's about it, I think.
So
It's 5.
Salome got best actress and best short film,
Best
wasn't
Short
it?
Film.
And what was the other one that you mentioned from Amsterdam?
Amsterdam was, I won the best, well, Judith and I won the best script for the short film. It was a Van Gogh Award. from Amsterdam Film Festival 2015.
That's incredible. How many of these film festivals do you go to? Do you make it a point to go to as many film festivals as you can?
Well, I love to go back to Cannes next year again. So I'm planning to target Cannes for competition for the short film I'm making, and hopefully for the feature if we finish it by next year.
Can you talk a little bit about your forthcoming projects? They're obviously still in the sort of development stage.
There was a movie, you're talking about The Champ. Is it the one? Well, I'm working with another director called Azim, who is a co-director. I mean, we are working on the same project called It Takes Two.
Okay.
And he has made about more than 100 short films, mostly martial arts, but he's a great director, and it's a good experience for me to work with somebody else. So that is one project that we are working. We wrote it together, and we have been rehearsing it with the actors and actresses. And the other project is called The Champ, which is a documentary, and I'm waiting for the post-production to be completed.
And what's that about?
That is about an Iranian guy who left Iran after the revolution, and years later he decided to go back to his homeland.
And I can imagine it's obviously a very interesting story.
Or did they accept him back?
Of course, yes. Yes, he's living there actually, and he's extremely happy.
Is he?
Yes, he's very happy to be there right now.
Just as a point of interest, it's a big country, I hear, Iran. I guess it's rather like Colombia. I guess you've got everything from hot places to cold places. I've been told you can ski in the morning and then go sunbathing in the afternoon, depending on where you live.
You can't go sunbathing. Well, women can't, can they?
Well, I don't think
you can't take your clothes off.
I don't think anybody can do anything. But the point is, like a lot of countries, it's a shame because they could make a fortune from tourism. You've got it all, and great food, wonderful food.
The food is definitely good.
Wonderful food. Now that's something I do know about.
Yes, there's a place in Peckham, isn't there? Iranian.
Yes, that's
in
right.
Peckham. There's a very good Iranian restaurant.
We know where all the best food is, don't we, Judith? We do. Right, time for adverts, folks, and then we'll come back and talk to Kevin after these.
Your new McDonald's at 159 Balham High Road has now reopened with brand new ordering kiosks and interactive tablets for you to play games and browse online while you enjoy your food. There's a McDonald's for everyone.
And you're listening to The Spring Show here at Wandsworth Radio with
Jim
and Judith. And our guest today is Kevin Bisbangian, award-winning director. Tell me, how many screenings did the film have at these awards?
For Saint-Tropez, we had one screening, and usually you end up having question and answer, so people can ask you questions. For Cannes, because it was a short film corner, people are capable of, they can actually go to the library over there. If they are film buyers, producers, they can see the films they want. So by entering their code, etc., they watch the film. Or you can get these mini screening rooms and show your films.
And tell me, because I haven't been to one, and one of these days I'd love to go to one, what are these film festivals like?
Well, Saint-Tropez Film Festival is one of my favorites because 2 years ago when we went there, we all had a great time. And obviously winning the award is a big bonus as well. So we all loved going back to Saint-Tropez Film Festival.
Is it very glamorous?
Absolutely. They know how to run a good show.
Right. So is it like when they have put the red carpet out and all these, the actresses come in their beautiful slinky dresses? Is it like that?
Absolutely.
Oh, how lovely.
Oh, wow. We've got to go, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. What
We're
about
gonna
an
have to go.
invitation?
When's the next one? We'll come along with you.
Sure.
But only if it's glamorous and only if it's warm.
And you have to wear your best bidden tucker.
I don't mind that.
I'll have to buy a dress.
I'll have to brush off the moths from mine.
But
Now,
how exciting, It's terrific, really is. From little acorns, at the beginning, how you've grown. Amazing.
because as Judith mentioned before, we did meet Kevin I've forgotten how many years ago. It's more than 5, isn't it? I think
6 years
about
ago.
5 or 6 years.
6 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. And Kevin and perhaps, what would you say, 3, 4, 5 other people who did the filmmaking course at City Lit, they went on to do a lot. He's just mentioned Azim.
Yeah.
Azim started
Because
on
you've
that
worked
course.
with Azim, haven't you?
I worked
A
with
lot.
Azim. I also worked with a lovely lady called Didar Arslan, who made a superb documentary, a really, really, heart-wrenching documentary about autistic children, and a couple of other people. So, as Judith said, not everybody who studies on these courses goes on to do things, but Kevin certainly did. Well done.
Thank you.
And it's great to have you here.
Have you got a big camera now? Have you?
No, I don't use my own camera.
You don't? You hire them?
I get cinematographers. I hire the equipment.
right.
Yes.
So you wouldn't have a black magic? Is it called a black magic?
Black magic camera. Yeah.
No.
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 Oh.
The one. What was the name of your cinematographer on Salome?
Amar. Amarsi.
Yes, he had a Canon
C300.
C300. Did that give a kind of CinemaScope?
The picture quality was fantastic.
Yes.
Actually, very impressive. And
Yeah.
Amar is such a great cinematographer that nothing can go wrong with him.
Yeah.
So hopefully he will be working with. We'll be working together again. Hopefully.
Yeah. Tell me, obviously it takes a long time to write a story, and then you've got to polish it, and then you've got to pitch it or whatever. Then you've got to find the actors. How long does the whole process take? What could you tell the listeners what the steps are in
I think
making
it depends.
Yeah.
Usually you get the idea, then you start writing, rewriting. For Salome, everything was very slow. And the whole project took 2 years. So
Wow.
When the story started, it was just a story for 3 characters. But it was very static. And then later on, it became more dynamic by bringing other characters to it and making some twists at the end, etc. So, and the actual editing took ages because we had made lots of mistakes and we had to recover those mistakes. We had to do something about them. So it took about 7 months to solve those problems.
But once you've actually filmed and finished, and then the editing, you have a problem in the editing. They've got to be really clever, haven't they? Because you can't go back to filming.
That is why having a good editor is very important. We had a great editor, Daniele, and he was nominated for the award for the best editor, and he was great. He's amazing.
Can people see your film if they don't go to film festivals? Is it on release anywhere?
Well, at the moment I'm negotiating with some distributors and some film buyers. So yes, they can.
Brilliant. Because I've only seen it. You showed me a copy on a laptop, I think once, but also I saw it when it was screened at SOAS, and that was again a very well attended screening. And the colours, the cinematography, the whole thing is just so lovely. So I would like as many people as possible to see it. Let's have a little piece of music. Quite spooky, this. Well, there we go. We had to cut that short as well because that was another one of these incredibly long tracks, but very, very famous. What was that, Kevin?
This was from the film The Exorcist.
Yes.
I think it's composed by Penderecki, the Polish composer. I think.
Was it?
I think
no,
so.
I thought it was. Wasn't it based on Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield? It's almost identical.
Maybe there are different versions.
Oh, maybe
but
there
I
are.
think it's
Maybe there are.
Penderecki.
Oh, how
What
interesting.
I like about this is with a simple music
Oh,
box
yeah.
tune, you can create such an horror,
Yes.
a music which matches a
Absolutely.
horror film.
Now, talking of horror films, I have to ask you, you do have a kind of macabre interest, don't you? Where does that come from?
Your childhood?
Probably. I don't know. I have got, like, in some of my films, you see torture.
Yes.
And they ask me if I do enjoy torturing people or watching torture. I think the reason I use torture is because I'm so scared of torture or being tortured. To me, it's really scary.
Were you threatened as a child?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure. But I like the way you think.
Well, certainly in Salome, and I do hope that as many listeners as possible can get along to see the film when it's released, there are a couple of scenes that are not for the squeamish, I think I'd be right in saying, wouldn't I? But it's part of a fantastic story, a very, very unpredictable story.
What were you doing in it?
I played an old geezer. So not much acting there then.
No.
You were Salome's father.
Yes.
Oh, were you?
Yes, I was a baddie. Well, no, not really. I was sort of half a baddie.
Yes.
Half a baddie. Yeah.
So Salome had a problem with her childhood, didn't she?
She did.
Big time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Big time.
But at least she liked classical music.
She loved classical music.
So what we haven't asked, and I hope again it's not too personal, what do you do as a day job?
I'm a Unix consultant.
And what does that mean?
Unix is an operating system. Concurrently, you can run on many machines, and it is very fast, very powerful. Lots of places use it. And I've been a Unix consultant for many, many years.
Wow.
Ah.
Before you were born.
That's the way to say it.
Yes, it is. It is. However, I think Babbage and his calculation machine was probably the kind of computer when I was young. Although it's very kind of you to say.
He's chatting you up for his
And
next film.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. He
Absolutely.
has promised me to be in
Absolutely.
my next film.
Yes, my agent has said that I have a slot available.
Oh, yeah.
And on that note, we're going to take another piece of music. You're listening to The Spring Show on Wandsworth Radio.
Wandsworth Radio.
Great film that was.
Great film. We don't have to ask Kevin what that music was from, if anybody doesn't know.
Well, Psycho, which caused such a storm when it was first shown, didn't it? Who was
the
it?
great
Who played
Alfred
the-
Hitchcock.
Yes,
This
but
was composed
Lee. What was her name?
The
Lee.
woman? I don't know. The chap.
This was Bernard Herrmann.
But was it really?
Yes. So
I
he
never knew the
composed it.
composer. Oh.
And I don't need to tell you how important it was to the actual movie.
Yeah.
When it came, the shower scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, if anybody hasn't actually seen the film, the reason the music was so odd is the music, the beat, more or less matched the actions, didn't it?
Absolutely.
And, fantastic. And a real shocker. A real shocker.
But they still show this film, don't they?
They do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, now, I suppose, with all of the modern films showing the most ghastly things, probably lost a little bit of the shock value, but it's still a fantastic film.
Now, when you've got a script and you give the script to your actors, what is the process
Well,
of being able to translate that
first
script
we have
onto
got
film?
meetings for all the actors and actresses. We read the actual script, and they ask lots of questions. If they are not sure about anything, then they ask me. I try to explain to them what I expect, and after being comfortable with the reading of the actual script, then we have other meetings about their movements. Obviously, having the storyboard helps a lot for everybody to understand perfectly what the plan is. And after that, we rehearse. For Salome, which was my last film, we rehearsed for 3 months. I think once a week, sometimes twice a week, we had to rehearse. So the plan is, by the time it comes to the shooting stage, everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to do. So all of us. So I don't have to worry too much for the shooting stage, because it has to run automatically like a clock. So that's the idea.
I do remember you mentioning to me at the time, though, that the one thing that was rather difficult was getting the locations.
Getting a location is very difficult and very expensive. In England, at least in London, I know is extremely expensive. We lost the location 2 days before the actual shooting, and it was really depressing to go through that. But I was lucky because I found even a better location.
Ah, yes. A very, very atmospheric, spooky location, wasn't
Absolutely.
So there's always a reason why things happen.
Yes, I really believe in
Yeah.
that.
it? Let's have some more beautiful music.
Tonight
Again, I feel awful
Yes.
having to cut these tracks short, but they are very, very long tracks. But that was incredible. Tell us what that was.
This is composed by Arvo Part, and
Is that
I think-
Finnish?
I think from Norway.
Norway. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
And I love this piece. I
Yeah.
tried to buy it for my own film, but I couldn't afford it. It was extremely expensive,
Really?
very expensive. But I managed to use it for when they were giving the awards. They were announcing the nominations for the different films. For the best director, I used this piece of music, and everybody loved it.
Well, I remember you did have it for a trailer at one point until you had to remove it. And the first time I saw it, the trailer itself was so suspenseful. It was so, spooky. And this music was perfect for it. It was absolutely perfect. You've really got a good taste in music. You've found some amazing pieces from all over the world, haven't you?
Thanks. I like my music.
Yeah.
I listen to everything.
Yeah.
And I mean everything. From rap to opera to, I don't know, Iranian music, Spanish music, different types of music. So I do enjoy listening to different types of music.
I don't know where you get all the time to do all of this. You do a proper day job, you do all of these filmings, you travel, you do... My goodness, you really fill your time.
That was why I mentioned to Judith that I didn't have time to go and watch opera.
Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Now, listen, can you see yourself in Hollywood?
That
Wait,
is
is
not
this
the
going to take
target.
you to-
That is not the target at all. My targets are just making good films and enjoy making the films, while
Yeah.
I'm making them. The target is not to go to Hollywood. I'm not saying that if it
Didn't
happens,
arise, you
I
wouldn't
won't
go.
enjoy it. But definitely it's not in my mind at all. It's just telling stories. That's what I do.
As you say, you've made quite a few now, both films, feature films and documentaries. Do you have a preference between feature and documentary?
I'll prefer documentaries are much easier to me. You don't have to rehearse.
Yeah.
Basically, editing becomes very important for documentaries, but I find documentaries easier. But I prefer, being a masochist, I prefer making thrillers, making dramas, making even comedies, which is a big challenge.
Yeah.
Because I don't consider myself funny at all, but I love to make a comedy. So my next feature will be a comedy made of 10 different stories, short stories, which are linked together.
It's funny you say that because I can imagine that making a comedy is much more difficult than any other kind of
Absolutely,
film.
very difficult.
Because you're not really going to know until the film's finished whether the comedy is there, really, are you?
Exactly.
Yeah, very difficult.
Were you watching the television last night? It was Carry On. They were saying, showing when it first started.
Yeah, yeah.
And how, how it just took off.
Yes, yeah. There's so many. I mean, look at every now and then they show Fawlty Towers, don't they?
I love that.
Things like that. They are classics, and they haven't gone out of fashion.
I love British sense of humor.
Yeah. Well,
Now-
hang on. We're just going to play again a very short piece of your final choice, and then you can tell us why you chose that.
that's more like it.
Oh, absolutely. That's
That'll wake you up. Why did you choose this one?
This reminds me of my childhood because as a child I used to watch the TV series of Mission Impossible.
yes.
And it was directed by this famous great Iranian director called Reza Badii, who was one of the best directors who went to Hollywood and worked there. So it meant a lot to us.
Well, you've really educated me there. I watched it like yourself. I watched it as a child on television, and of course they started making the big films out of it. In the film series, it was Peter Graves, wasn't it, with
Yes,
the grey hair?
yes.
And your mission, should you choose to accept it, and this tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds, and all that. And I grew up with that, but I didn't know that the director was
Yes, Reza
Iranian.
Badii.
Wow.
You can Google him.
Yeah,
Easy.
I will do. Yeah, fantastic.
Sadly, he passed away, I think, about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He was
Ah.
great.
Fabulous. Well, Kevin, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. I mean, last week we did announce that it was going to be a show just with Judith and Jim this week, but we were so delighted that Kevin was available to come into the studio straight from the Saint-Tropez Film Festival.
Yes, and
tell
we
us
have
about-
to catch him when we can.
Yeah, we do. He's very busy.
Thanks
Now-
very much for inviting me.
You're very welcome.
been
Do
lovely.
come back another time.
Great.
Who do we have next week?
Well, next week we have Brian Wolf. Now, you say Brian Wolf. Who's Brian Wolf? Well, do you remember Capital Radio?
Yes.
You do? And The Flying Eye?
Yes.
And Radio Bike? Well, Brian Wolf was the founder member of Capital Radio.
Okay.
Yeah. And not only that, he's rather like you, being in films. He was an actor
Brilliant.
and stage and theatre director. And now he makes films. So we're going to hear all about his life.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to that. I haven't met him, so I know nothing about him. So that's it for this week. By the way, the whole of the bank holiday weekend, the weather wasn't very nice. And as usual, bang on cue, today is a lovely, sunny, warm day.
Well, that's all right. We didn't have to wear our Macs.
Boiling hot in the studio. Anyway, have a great week from...
Judith.
Yeah, that's it. That's your name.
Yes.
And Jim. And
Kevin.
Kevin.
see you
Thanks,
next
Kevin.
week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Wandsworth Radio.